Hey guys, thanks for joining us back out at the Range Report. And here we are at our home base at Point Blank Range in Matthews, North Carolina. We're at the Patriot Gun Club, and if you're a member here, you can come here after hours like we're doing right now, and you pretty much have the whole place to yourself. Pretty cool. Look them up if you're in the area. Anyway, as you guys know, last week was SHOT Show, and there were a lot of guns that debuted, and unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to get out there. We had some scheduling conflicts that we couldn't make it out there. And we were really pissed off because there was supposed to be a lot of new offerings and a lot of guns making some buzz. And we wanted to get our hands on one as quickly as we could so we can get a review to you. And one of the companies that we had gotten some phone calls about, a company called Rost Martin. It's an American company located in Dallas, Texas. And they just introduced the RM1C, the Rost Martin first version C compact. It's a 9mm striker-fired handgun, polymer frames, steel slide. It's another, like we need it, another polymer frame striker-fired 9mm. But this one, from what we were told, looked pretty impressive. So we managed to get our hands on one pretty early in the season, and this is the one that we got. This is the RM1C. We got it in tungsten gray with black. Now, it has sort of a reminiscent look to it to some of the guns that we've had on the channel before, and the one that struck mind when I saw it was our Canik Mate, whatever. This is the compact Canik Meat. When we looked at this thing, we noticed that there are a lot of similarities between it. The slide is nearly identical, the proportions nearly identical, the trigger nearly identical. A lot of things about these two guns, even down to the U dot sights on the gun. And we thought to ourselves, wow, that's... Canik is usually a copy of an American gun. Here's an American gun copying a Canik. And we said, well, we got to check this thing out. Let's see what it's about. Well, we got the gun in-house. And even though they look similar, they are completely different animals. This is cut for an optic. It has an optic cut on it. Comes with an additional plate, a couple extra back straps. You get two magazines with it, a 15 and a 17. We got both of them right here. You got a 3-slot pick rail. You got serrations front and back. So if you want to do your press checks, you have a sight hole indicator on the top. There's no chamber indicator. You do have a striker indicator on this thing. So when the gun is charged, you get a little red indicator in the back. When the gun is fired and clear, it's gone. But remember, always assume it's loaded. The takedown on this gun is very Glock-like. You bring it back 1/4 of an inch. You drop your spars down a little bit, push it forward, but you don't have to fire. You don't have to squeeze the trigger. Slide comes right off of it, just like the Canik. And to put it back on, you right back into position, come back 1/4 of an inch, you're good to go. Now, as you can see, the gun is clear. We are empty, and we're going to run some rounds through this thing. The one thing that I noticed about it was the trigger. As you guys know, if you've watched the channel before, I love the Canik trigger. As far as I'm concerned, that's the 1911 of striker-fired triggers. Out of the box, it's the best trigger I've ever felt, with a gun that's under, $2,000. It's a fantastic trigger. This thing rivals it. There is hardly no take-up. It's all wall, super crisp, brakes, resets at 3/16 of an inch. Fantastic feeling trigger. That's what it feels like when you're not shooting it. But now we're going to see what it feels like when you do run some rounds through it. So we're going to load a couple of magazines up. We got our target 21 feet down range, and we're going to see if this thing lives up to the little bit of hype that we've been hearing about it, because everybody who's seen it was pretty much impressed with it so far, especially with an MSRP of about $450. So we're going to run some shots, see how it goes. Wow. That trigger That trigger is light. Wow. All right, so just ran 17 through it, just wanted to kind of get the feel of it, and as you might have seen in that, had 2 go, kind of wasn't anticipating those, and they kind of went. That trigger is sensitive. It feels heavier under dry fire than it does when you're live firing it. Those 2 rounds actually took me a little bit by surprise. The trigger is a lot, like I said, there's no creep on that trigger. It's all wall, so as soon as you move it, she's going. So my grouping is kind of, what wasn't too bad, but the 2 flyers that I have, one of those unanticipated shots. So now that I know what the gun's going to do, I'm going to try and tighten this up just in the middle and see if I can't, get a little bit better control over it. Try and tighten this up a little bit. All right, so we just ran another 15 rounds through it with our 15 round magazine, and I had a lot more control over the trigger than with the first one. I kind of got a little bit used to the sensitivity of it. The trigger is a lot more sensitive than what I was anticipating. So now that I know what to expect, I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate in my trigger pull. I'm going to put up another target, see if I can't tighten them up a little bit more. So far, I'm pretty impressed with the gun, but like I said, that sensitivity of the trigger is something I'm going to have to get used to. All right, before I swap targets, I just want to show you the target that I had. These are the couple of flyers that I had with those 2 unanticipated rounds. The grouping is not that bad, especially on a compact gun. Most of it was tight in the center with the extended magazine. The short one naturally spread out a little bit more, but I'm going to put another target up just using the short magazine, and I'm going to see if I can't get that tightened up. All right, so we got another 15 rounds loaded up. I wanted to call your attention to the magazine real quick. This gun does have, it's not a reversible mag release button, it's an ambidextrous magazine button. So either direction you push the mag, whether you're going with your thumb or your index finger, she's going to pop out for you. So because of that, it has the engagement hole right there on the magazine, so these are not interchangeable. Like I said, as similar as it is with the Canic, it don't even fit. So these are proprietary, but I think I have a gun at home that these fit. We're going to check and see if there's any interchangeability with it and see what happens. They're also the only ones I've seen so far that have a zombie green follower in it, so for what it's worth. All right, we've got a target set at 21 feet. I'm going to try and get as tight a group as I can with the flush magazine. Brush it a little bit. All right, see? That trigger. Even being very deliberate, a couple of times that trigger is catching me off guard. I'm barely getting the safety depressed and the gun's popping. You see, the group is a lot better than it was before because I'm trying to pace myself a little bit. That was my flyer. That was that one unanticipated shot that went off. Just for giggle's sake, I also happen to load up the magazine for the Canic. I'm going to try and put the rounds in that with this one. And see if I have any sort of difference with it. All right. I fired that as deliberately as I fired the other one. There's no issue with the trigger at all on it as far as, you know, having that impulse. I'm not confident with this gun. I'm going to tell you honest, maybe it's me. I'm the first person that I know of who's been reviewing this gun. I'm the first person, no one's ever heard of it. But that trigger just doesn't seem consistent to me. I'm getting what is feeling like a 3.5 to 4 pound pull, and then I'm getting one that's a whisper. So I'm not going to carry that. I'm not going to carry that. You know, you are responsible for every shot that you fire, intended or otherwise. And if you don't have a certain consistency in that trigger, you know, I mean, granted, you know, finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. We all understand that. But you should still have some sense of, you know, what the gun is going to do when you put it in your hand. That trigger, I don't know if it's resetting back to where it should, but for it to be that inconsistent is a little worrisome for me. I'm going to reach out to them and see what they say. I'm going to run some more rounds off camera. I'm going to run, I want to finish off a box. You know, I got another 50 rounds in there. I'm going to run them. I'm going to see what happens, and we'll let you know. But as it is right now, the Rost Martin RM1C, $459 on their website. It's a nice attempt. It really is a nice attempt. It feels good. It looks good. It's machined very well. Everything looks good. But that trigger is making me worry. So we shall see. All right, listen, this is Frank from the Range Report. If you want to watch the unboxing video for this, I'll put it in the link below. You know, you can see it. It'll be right here somewhere, I think. And on this side will be a subscribe thing. Hit that. And after you hit that, hit the little thumbs up thing, and then put a comment underneath it. We really appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate the support. You know, we're doing this because it's an important thing to do. So you guys be safe and shoot straight. We'll catch you next time.